Hi, and welcome to the 8th video in our cybersecurity lab for beginners. Today, we are actually going to be taking a look at a whole new system now that we're going to be incorporating into our lab. We're actually going to be installing OpenVAS on our Kali Linux box. OpenVAS stands for Open Vulnerability Assessment System. So we are going to be able to do vulnerability scans. Now, this is beneficial for the blue team as well as a red team, because you're going to be able to detect the vulnerabilities that are exploitable on the machines, but also how to fix them and what are the impacts. So it is very useful for both teams, because if you're on the blue team, you will want to know what vulnerabilities are in your system. So launching a scan against yourself is completely a very valid and good idea, because you're going to learn what systems are weak, especially with OpenVAS, since it has a collection of CVEs and NVTs given to you, and it's completely free. It is very, very good. It might not be as up to date as something like Tenable with Nessus, but I feel as in a home lab, it gives you a lot of that practice to be able to do those vulnerability scans. It gives you an option to print out a somewhat nice report, maybe not an executive summary report, but a pretty good technical report. So let's go ahead and let's actually get started on our Kali box here. So the first thing we're going to want to do is open up our terminal window here. And we're going to want to make sure that our Kali is completely up to date. Now, I've actually done all the updates on mine just recently here. So we're going to run those. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a sudo apt update and an sudo apt upgrade -y. And then we're going to put in our password here. And this is actually going to go ahead and update and actually upgrade any of those packages. As you can see, I don't have any here. So we're also just going to do the sudo apt dist-upgrade -y. And we're doing the -y just to avoid having to put in y after where it asks to confirm yes or no. We're just preemptively saying yes to those upgrades. All right, so now that our system is fully up to date, now we're going to want to install the OpenVAS software here, or the package. So we're going to do the sudo apt install OpenVAS, and we're just going to do, again, a -y here. And this is going to go ahead and install the OpenVAS system. As you can see, it goes pretty quick. Now, the part that actually takes a long time is running the installer. Now, what this will actually do, this will configure our OpenVAS and download a bunch of those NVTs, which are the network vulnerability tests and the signatures. And it's actually going to be spitting out our admin password that we need to log in to OpenVAS afterwards as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to do sudo space gvm -setup, and we're going to run that, and you're going to see that this is going to go ahead and configure everything. And as you can see, it does already spit out the admin password here. We don't actually have to worry about capturing that admin password right now. It's actually going to spit it to us once again at the end. And right now, what it's actually doing is it's actually downloading those NVTs, or those network vulnerability tests. So those will be done. So we're actually going to let that happen. This can sometimes take quite a few minutes. So we're going to come back once this is all complete. All right, so the NVTs are done. So now it's doing the SCAP data. It will also do the CERT data. It will download a bunch of those feeds that it needs. This is sometimes, again, something that does take a decent amount of time. So we will just let it do its thing. But if yours is going through the downloading SCAP data and downloading CERT data, that is completely normal. All right, so here you can see that that setup is done. You can actually see here that we do actually get the please note the password for the admin user created with password, and then it gives you this password here. We're going to want to make sure that we just grab that and we copy it. And then what we're actually going to want to do before we go ahead and just try to log in to the JVM or the OpenVAS, we are going to want to go ahead and just do a sudo space gvm dash check dash setup. And this is actually going to do some tests on the install that we just did and make sure that everything is actually working correctly. So let's just let this do its thing. This can sometimes take a few seconds to like a minute. So it just checks, make sure that all these services are up and running, and if they aren't, it will actually start them for us as well. Make sure that there is at least a user, make sure that there is the data found for the SCAP, the CERT, the NVTs. Make sure that everything is there, and at the end we can see that it seems like your JVM 2504 installation is okay, which that is perfect. So now what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to open up a Firefox window or any browser that you have on your Kali box, but by default it is usually Firefox. And we are going to want to go to https:// Now you can do localhost or 127.0.0.1. And we're going to want to specify the port 9392. And then you're going to get this security warning here where you're going to have to click on advanced and then accept the risk and continue because it has a self-signed certificate. And then here we are going to put in our admin username and our password here. And we are going to click on sign in. And I actually like to save this password at first anyways, until I have a chance to change it. And here you're actually going to see that the feed is currently syncing. So if we actually try and just try to go make a scan here. So we're going to go click on scans, task, and we're going to click on this little task wizard here. And if we enter in an IP address, 172.30.2.101, which is the IP address of my Metasploitable 2 machine, because that's what we're going to run our test on. We're going to run our test on that very vulnerable machine that we've downloaded. And let's go ahead and let's hit start scan. And we're going to get an error message that says failed to create a new task because the default scan config is not available. This issue may be due to the feed not having completed its synchronization. Please try again shortly. So this is where we can actually come in here into administration and then click on feed status. And you're actually going to see here, it's going to say, this one might say current or synchronization issue, scanner is still starting. And these other ones might be update in progress. All you really have to do at this point is kind of wait. It can take a few minutes, like it can take a few hours for this to actually fully do its thing. I think for me the other day, it took almost an hour for it to complete. So that's going to be the end of this video. But on the next video, we're actually going to show you how to perform a scan. And also, if you guys do try to perform the scan, remember if you followed these videos exactly, we did set up some rules on our snort in pfSense for that Metasploitable 2 machine. So Greenbone or OpenVAS won't actually work against your Metasploitable 2 machine until we make some changes to our snort. You're going to notice that it's not going to find any vulnerabilities, and there's going to be a lot of timing out issues. But if you go look in your snort and in your alerts, you're actually going to see why. So I'm going to be showing you guys all of that in the next video. I just wanted to give a little heads up in case you guys go and adventure on your own on performing those scans before that next video. But that is it for this video. This is basically how you install OpenVAS. Now we installed it on Kali because that is the easiest way to get it installed other than using Docker containers. Because if you try to do this exact same setup on Ubuntu, the Greenbone Security Assistant is missing from that package. So you actually have to do a lot of extra work on Ubuntu to get these set up. Luckily, we are using this as a red team, blue team tool, kind of our purple team tool, which Kali kind of gives you a lot of those tools already. So it kind of just made sense to install it on top of Kali because Kali gives you those good packages from their repos. So that's something to keep in mind. If you aren't using Kali when you're going through this setup is definitely specific to Kali if you want to get it working correctly right away and in the simplest form possible. That is important. But be sure to tune in the next video where we're going to actually show you how to run those scans, how to make those changes to Snort to allow them, and anything else that you guys would like to see with OpenVAS or other systems. This is just one of the few tools that we're going to be going over in our lab that can actually be used for both red teaming and blue teaming. If you haven't already, also hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Also, be sure to hit that notification bell to be notified when that next video comes out. And I will see you guys on the next video.